50 Stoic and Samurai lessons to calm your minds like a lake. I'm gonna tell you something, and then I'm going to stop talking, because what you're about to learn was written down 2,000 years ago by a Roman emperor in his private journal, and echoed 300 years later in the final words of a swordsman before he died. Both of them knew the same thing: a mind you cannot control controls you. There are 50 lessons in this video. Some will calm you. Some, I'll admit it, will give you an unfair advantage. Because Stoics and Samurai weren't just chasing inner peace. Both of them wanted power too. They knew the calmest person in the room is usually the one holding the most control. Now, notice something. I just went silent for a few seconds, didn't I? That wasn't an accident. In a few minutes, I'll show you exactly why that works and how you can use it yourself. Lesson 27. But first, I want you to hold one image in your mind: a lake. Introduction: the lake, the tree, the spider, the bamboo. A storm can tear a lake's surface apart. Waves, foam, chaos. But go 30 feet down, it's calm. It never changes. This is what the Stoics called apatheia, what the Samurai called mizu no kokoro, mind like water, not stopping the storm, learning to live beneath it. 3 teachers will guide us through this, all borrowed from nature. A tree that lets its fruit fall, because a mind that can work hard and still release the outcome is a free mind. A spider that patiently weaves its web, because the strongest moves are born from the calmest preparation. And bamboo that bends in the wind but never breaks, because survival isn't about resisting, it's about flexing. You'll see these 3 metaphors return throughout this video. Now, to the first section: silencing the noise in your head. Overthinking. Section 1. Silencing overthinking. Lesson 1. Premeditatio malorum. Rehearsing loss. Every morning, Seneca imagined losing everything he had: his home, his wealth, his health. Sounds bleak, doesn't it? It's the opposite. Psychologists today call this negative visualization, and research shows that people who mentally rehearse loss in advance are far less shaken when real loss actually arrives, because the nervous system has already run the drill once. Tonight, before you sleep, take 3 minutes. Imagine losing something you have right now: a relationship, a job, your health. Then open your eyes. The moment you realize it's still there, gratitude replaces overthinking. Lesson 2. Thought subtraction. Marcus Aurelius had another technique: subtracting instead of adding. The modern mind constantly asks, how do I get more? The Stoic mind asks instead, how would I feel if I never had this at all? Mentally remove your car, your health, someone you love, just for a moment. The relief you feel when you put it back is real gratitude, and that gratitude starves the sense of lack that overthinking feeds on. Lesson 3. Releasing the reins of control. Epictetus was a slave, yet he possessed one of the freest minds in history. His secret? He split everything in life into 2 categories: what's in your control and what isn't. How others judge you is not in your control. How you respond today is. 90% of overthinking comes from trying to control things that were never yours to control. Next time your mind loops on something, ask one question: is this actually mine to control? If not, let it go. the way a tree releases ripe fruit instead of clinging to the branch. Lesson 4. Live as already dead. Hagakure. The most famous line from the 18th century samurai text, Hagakure reads, "The way of the samurai is found in death." This isn't a threat, it's a release. A warrior who considers himself already dead each morning has nothing left to lose. Fear exists because we fear losing something. Once you accept that there's nothing left to lose, fear loosens its grip. This isn't an obsession with death, it's the courage to fully enter every moment of life. Lesson 5. Musashi's coup. Emptiness. Leave open space in your mind. Don't try to fill every gap. Silence is a strategy too. Lesson 6. Amor fati. Don't just accept your fate, love it. Whatever happens, say, "This happened for me." Lesson 7. The "this too shall pass." Ritual. In any crisis, check your watch and picture how this moment will look a year from now. Lesson 8. Mind like water. Water takes the shape of whatever container holds it without losing its essence. Adapt to the situation without losing yourself. Lesson 9. Morning, evening, Stoic journaling. 2 lines each morning on what might I face today. 2 lines each night on where did I falter today. Lesson 10. The 1 breath rule. When a thought grips you, take 1 deep breath and tell the thought, "Not now." Section 2. Attention and cognitive load management. Lesson 11. The Zeigarnik effect. In the 1920s, psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik noticed that waiters remembered unpaid orders perfectly and forgot them the instant the bill was settled. Our brains treat unfinished tasks like an alarm that never stops ringing. This is the scientific name for overthinking, the Zeigarnik effect. Your mind is keeping 10 unclosed tabs open in the background, and each one quietly drains you. The fix is simple but powerful. Every evening, write down every unfinished task on paper. The act of writing alone signals to your brain, "This is now recorded elsewhere. You can let it go." Psychologists call this a closure ritual. Samurai called it sheathing the sword. Lesson 12. Distributing cognitive load. Your mind has a working memory and it's shockingly small. It can hold only a handful of things at once. Every small detail you're trying to remember occupies a corner of that memory and keeps you from actually thinking. Samurai discipline applies here. Everything has its place, and everything must be in its place. Do the same. Externalize anything you're trying to remember. Phone, paper, a list. Why does a spider build such a masterful web? Because it doesn't remember every single thread. The structure itself carries the memory. Build your mind the same way. The system lives outside you. Clarity lives inside you. Lesson 13. The One Strike Philosophy. Musashi. In the Book of 5 Rings, Musashi explains the difference between a master swordsman and a novice. The novice considers 10 different moves at once, while the master commits fully to a single, decisive strike. Our modern minds are constantly pushed toward multitasking, but the brain doesn't actually do 2 things at once. It switches, and every switch costs a small toll. Today, commit to 1 task, 1 strike. Don't move to the second until the first is done. It's both less exhausting and far more effective. Lesson 14. Bamboo and distraction. In a storm, the oak tries to stand rigid and often snaps. Bamboo bends, moves with the wind, and springs back upright once the storm passes. Every notification, every intrusive thought is a gust of wind aimed at you. Resisting it head-on drains your energy. Instead, notice it. Bend briefly. Acknowledge the thought. Then spring back automatically to what you were doing. Not resistance, elastic return. That's your attention muscle. Lesson 15. Marcus Aurelius's Just Today principle. The past and future drain your mental energy. Focus only on the 24 hours in front of you. Lesson 16. The Garden of Attention. Whatever you focus on grows. Whatever you ignore withers. Tend your attention like a gardener. Lesson 17. The Samurai Duel. One moment, one decision. Hesitation is the real enemy, not the opponent. Lesson 18. The Silence Gap. Wait 2 seconds before responding. It calms you and signals command of the room to whoever's listening. We'll return to this in full in Lesson 27. Lesson 19. The Single Task Rule. When you sit down to work, write one goal and ignore everything else. Lesson 20. The Evening Sword Sheathing Ritual. 3 minutes each night to mentally unload everything the day piled up. Section 3. Social Edge, Influence Tactics. Now we arrive at a section most people will never explain to you directly. Because Stoics and samurai didn't just manage their own minds. They read human nature with startling precision. These lessons will give you a quiet but very real edge in social situations. Lesson 21. The Ben Franklin Effect. Benjamin Franklin once approached a rival who despised him and asked to borrow a rare book. The rival was surprised, but lent it. Soon after, that same person became one of Franklin's strongest allies. Why? The mind can't tolerate contradiction. I helped him, but I don't like him. Creates internal friction, and the brain resolves it by deciding, I must actually like him. Psychologists call this the Ben Franklin effect. The practical move: if you want to earn someone's trust, don't do them a favor. Ask them for a small one, a piece of advice, a bit of help, an opinion. Someone who invests in you starts defending you. Lesson 22. The Social Zygarnik. The Unfinished Story. Remember the Zygarnik effect from the attention section? It has a social version too. Cut a story off mid-sentence, and the listener's mind keeps working to close that gap, which means it keeps thinking about you. TV shows end episodes at the most tense moment for exactly this reason. Try leaving a sentence unfinished in conversation, a presentation, or a message. And then I realized it actually wasn't like that at all. The other person won't lose interest because they need the ending from you. Lesson 23. The Decoy Effect. When a medium fries costs $4 and a large costs $4.50, almost everyone chooses the large, because the gap feels small and the large option is framed as the obvious win. This is called the decoy effect. The mind evaluates options relative to each other, not in isolation. How do you use this? Never offer just one option. Surround the one you actually want with a slightly weaker third option. The mind pulls itself toward your preferred choice. No pressure required on your part. Lesson 24. The Social Power of the Silence Gap. As promised, we're back. In a negotiation, an argument, even a casual conversation, most people are uncomfortable with silence and rush to fill it, often over-explaining or over-conceding. Samurai duelists understood this. The one who doesn't move first often looks like the stronger one. Next time you're in a negotiation or a price discussion, don't respond immediately after the other person speaks. Hold for 3 seconds. That silence either pushes them into offering something better on their own or makes you look genuinely thoughtful. Those who speak less and observe more win more. Lesson 25. The power of we language. In samurai culture, the individual never came before the clan. Leaders who say we instead of I build belonging and loyalty far faster because the brain automatically includes itself when it hears we. In your next team conversation, replace I want this with what we can achieve. Same idea, far less resistance. Lesson 26. Stoic humility. Someone who feels no need to display power is often perceived as the most powerful person in the room. Lesson 27. Mirroring. Subtly match the other person's pace and tone. The way a spider senses vibration through its web. It builds trust fast. Lesson 28. Speak less, observe more. Musashi's principle. The one who watches before speaking, reads the room and wins it. Lesson 29. The halo effect. One strong visible detail, punctuality, posture, elevates your entire perceived competence. Lesson 30. The loss aversion frame. Instead of you could gain this, say, you shouldn't lose this. Fear of loss beats desire for gain. Section 4. Samurai discipline, action and fear management. Lesson 31. The 7 virtues of Bushido. Justice, courage, compassion, respect, honesty, honor, loyalty. These weren't just battlefield rules, they were a daily decision filter. Before making a choice today, ask one question. How would this decision reflect the person I actually want to be? That single question stops most impulsive, regrettable decisions before they happen. Lesson 32. The fearlessness of the warrior who has accepted death. Back to Hagakure, this time applied to action. A samurai who accepts he's already dead before entering battle doesn't hesitate, because hesitation is born from the hope of survival. In modern life, the fear before a big presentation or a hard conversation comes from the same source. What if I fail? Fully live out the worst-case scenario in your mind, even the worst version of the worst case, and accept it. Beyond that acceptance, you have nothing left to lose, and action becomes fluid. Lesson 33. The tree that releases its fruit. An apple tree spends all summer growing its fruit, and when it ripens, it doesn't hold on. It lets go. It doesn't attach to the outcome of its own labor. The Stoics called this control over action, not outcome. Do the best work you can, but don't chain yourself emotionally to the result. This produces both less anxiety and, paradoxically, better performance, because a mind fixated on outcome disconnects from the action itself. Lesson 34. Breath and Zazen. Resetting the nervous system. Before battle, samurai practiced Zazen meditation, slowing the breath to shift the nervous system out of combat mode and into clear awareness. Today, we call this a vagal break. Slow, deep breathing calms the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. Before any high-pressure moment, a meeting, a hard conversation, inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 6, repeat 3 times. It's the last calm breath before the sword leaves its sheath. Lesson 35. The instant decision reflex. The duelist doesn't overthink, he feels. Overanalysis is often just mistimed action. Lesson 36. The morning sword ritual. 3 minutes at the start of your day to set a clear intention in 1 sentence. Lesson 37. Bend like bamboo, don't break. Like pine, flexibility isn't weakness, it's a survival strategy. Lesson 38. Your real enemy is your own mind. Focus on the hesitation inside you, not the rival outside. Lesson 39. Kaizen small, continuous steps. Real change is built from tiny repetitions. Lesson 40. Fight as if you'll die today. Reframe deadline pressure as, this is my one-shot energy. Section 5. Stoic acceptance and lasting peace. Lesson 41. The dichotomy of control, full application. We return now fully to the principle from Lesson 3. The opening line of Epictetus's Enchiridion reads, "Some things are up to us and some are not. Your thoughts, your actions, your responses, yours. Other people's opinions, the weather, the past, not yours." Nearly all overthinking, anxiety, and anger comes from confusing these two lists. From today on, in every moment of discomfort, separate these two lists in your mind. That's where your peace will come from. Lesson 42. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Seeing a problem as an enemy exhausts you. Seeing it as raw material, an opportunity, strengthens you. Think of the biggest obstacle in front of you right now and ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Where could it actually take me? The same event becomes an entirely different source of power once the frame changes. Lesson 43. Delaying anger. Seneca's On Anger. In his work on anger, Seneca emphasizes one rule above all: make no decision, say no word. While angry, wait first. That pause, much like the silence gap from Lesson 24, isn't just a social tactic, it's also an escape hatch. Make counting, breathing, and delaying your speech an automatic reflex in moments of anger. Most regret is the product of an impatient moment. Lesson 44. The spider's torn web. Wind tears a spider's web apart. The spider doesn't mourn. It patiently begins weaving again in the same spot. Resilience isn't refusing to fall. It's rebuilding without hesitation once you have. If something in your life has been torn today, a plan, a relationship, a project, ask yourself, what would the spider do right now? It starts weaving again. Lesson 45. Return to the lake. We come back to where we started. The storm stays on the surface. The depths remain calm. But here's the subtle point. The lake doesn't deny the storm. It doesn't try to suppress it. It simply doesn't let the storm reach past its surface. That's the real Stoic samurai peace, not ignoring your emotions, but refusing to let them run the depths of you. Lesson 46. Stop comparing. Run your own race. Someone else's pace was never your map. Lesson 47. Gratitude practice. Write 3 things down every night. The natural complement to negative visualization. Lesson 48. Virtue is the only good. External approval isn't the real reward. Your own integrity is. Lesson 49. The synthesis of death meditation. Both the Stoic memento mori and the samurai's acceptance of death arrive at the same conclusion. Live today fully. Lesson 50. Be the lake. Let the storm rage above and stay calm beneath the surface. 50 lessons done. But none of them were meant to be heard once and forgotten. The Stoics practiced these principles daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote every night, even while running an empire. Samurai renewed this discipline every morning as they put on their sword. So today, pick just one of these 50. Just one. Apply it today. Add another tomorrow, because the storm will never fully stop. But you, like the lake, can learn to stay calm beneath it Now tell me, which of these 50 surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. And remember, what actually changes you isn't the information. It's the repetition.